Heartwarming photo revealed. Billionaire discovers amazing connection with a hidden woman's legacy. Clara wiped her hands on her apron. A bright smile plastered across her tired face as she greeted each customer entering the diner. The bell rang softly above the door. The sound is familiar as the smell of sizzling bacon filling the air. In this small Midwestern town, Clara's diner was a sanctuary for weary souls and hungry hearts. It warmed the spirit with hearty meals and camaraderie, especially for the veterans who gathered around the tables, sharing laughter and stories that resonated with history. But today felt different. The air was thick with unease. Clara glanced at the faded red booth, one she reserved for the regulars, and her chest tightened. Bills piled up, and every scraped-together penny barely kept the lights on. This diner was her family's heart, a legacy built on resilience. As she poured a fresh cup of coffee, a man in an expensive suit walked through the door, a stark contrast to the cozy, worn surroundings. Max had escaped his life of high-rises and pressure-filled boardrooms, craving a taste of the simplicity he had left behind. As he sank into the booth, he felt an odd weight lift off his shoulders. The scent of fresh pie and the warm chatter around him felt like a long-forgotten hug. But it was a photograph on the wall that pulled him in deeper, a young woman with twinkling eyes, a face strikingly familiar. His heart skipped a beat. Maybe it was the resemblance to his late grandmother, a figure shrouded in mystery and memories he'd long pushed aside. As Clara bustled about, serving food with a smile, Max's curiosity morphed into an obsession. He heard snippets of conversations, found himself enchanted by the community that thrived amid hardships. Clara poured her life into this place, her sacrifices echoing in the laughter of the patrons. Each life shared within these walls held stories of hope, pain, and resilience. Max felt the stirrings of guilt, realizing this diner deserved more than the indifference of corporate greed. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days passed, the weaknesses of Clara's diner became painfully evident. The crowd grew smaller, the laughter faded into whispers of concern. One stormy afternoon, as rain drummed against the windows, veterans shared their memories, penning heartfelt letters of reminiscence. The diner was woven into their very identities, a symbol of home, honor, and belonging. Clara stood behind the counter, her heart racing with an urgency that matched the thunder outside. She would not let this legacy fade away. Max was torn. He felt connected to Clara's struggle, yet he was a titan of industry, holding fortunes precariously in his hands. Could he step in without changing everything, without stripping this cherished place of its soul? Just as he pondered his next move, a burst of lightning illuminated the diner, and Clara's eyes met his, full of fire and hope. His decision loomed like the storm outside, one that could change the trajectory of their lives forever. As Clara served another slice of pie with a laugh, the weight of their intertwined destinies hung in the air, begging for resolution. Would Max embrace the memories connected to his grandmother and stand beside Clara, or retreat into the shadows of corporate abundance? The diner's door swung open, rattling with the wind, drawing a sharp breath from Max. He leaned forward, the moment stretching between him and Clara, both lost in their thoughts. The thunder clapped outside, loud enough to shake the windowpanes, but all he could focus on was Clara's determination. It ignited something inside him, a flicker of courage, a spark of inspiration. Clara caught the look in his eyes. "You all right?" she asked, her voice warm and inviting, although laden with concern. "Just thinking," he replied, forcing a casual smile. Thoughts of changing his life, of taking a risk, consumed his mind. But what if he couldn't help? What if his involvement only made it worse? The diner continued to dwindle into silence, the vibrant chatter turning into hushed tones, as if the storm outside threatened to swallow them whole. Clara's heart sank a little more with every empty chair that passed the threshold unoccupied. She wanted to fight for this place, but it felt like she was running on fumes. Outside, rain poured down thick and furious. Clara wiped the countertop, her movements mechanical, echoing the brewing storm within her. It wasn't just about the diner. It was about everything this place represented. Memories of her father, childhood dreams, and a community that thrived here if only she could keep the doors open. Then, just as Clara began to feel herself falter, the bell above the door jingled again, and an elderly woman entered, shaking off her umbrella. "Clara, dear," she explained, her voice full of warmth, as if the dreariness outside couldn't touch her spirit. "I brought some fresh greens from my garden. You've got to try them in the soup." Max couldn't help but smile at the scene. There was a magic here, an unremarkable magic of connection, love, and small gestures that made big waves. He thought of his family, of his grandmother, whose unyielding spirit felt lost through time. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson," Clara replied, her eyes lighting up. The woman ambled over, and the two exchanged cheerful banter, momentarily sweeping the darkness away. Max watched, struck by how the diner was a living entity, breathing and pulsing with stories. Yet deep inside him, the storm of uncertainty raged on. This was just his chance to intervene. He was staring down a long road of responsibility. What could he do? "Clara," he said suddenly, his heart pounding, "what if I helped?" A sudden hush fell over the diner. Clara halted, her hands pausing mid-motion as all eyes shifted to him. Surprise, disbelief, and a flicker of hope coursed through the space. "Help with what?" she replied, cautiously hopeful. He felt the weight of their gazes, saw their curiosity. "With the diner. I could invest, keep it afloat." His voice dipped low, tinged with urgency. "But we need to keep its heart, its soul intact." Clara's brow furrowed. "You don't know the first thing about running a diner, Max. This is more than just money." "I know," he shot back, a light in his eyes. "But I recognize its worth. I recognize its legacy. I want to help you save this place. I want," he hesitated, emotion swelling in his chest. "I want to be part of something real. Something that matters." Max felt the gravity of his decision harden like stone. The diner was the very embodiment of everything he had chased away. Would Clara trust him enough to embrace this chance, to join forces against the tide of change threatening to drown them? Clara searched his gaze, seeking the truth behind his words. Silence settled thickly between them, punctuated only by the rain drumming against the windows. Her heart raced, realizing that this moment could be everything. Was this the glimmer of hope she so desperately sought, or a risk that could shatter her dreams? "Fine, let us talk," she finally said, her voice steady but trembling with excitement. "But it has to be my way." Max nodded, heart racing. He had crossed a line into the unknown. What new challenges lay ahead? As they began to discuss plans for the diner, the weight of their intertwined destinies felt lighter, yet a new storm brewed on the horizon. One neither of them could predict. The rain pounded against the diner, blurring the world outside. Inside, the atmosphere shifted from despair to an almost tangible excitement. Clara's eyes sparkled with renewed determination as she and Max dove into brainstorming. "What if we host community events?" Clara suggested, an idea blooming like a flower beneath the storm. "We could bring back those Friday night movie marathons. It used to draw a crowd. All the families in town came out for it." Max's mind raced. "And maybe a weekly farmer's market? We could feature local produce, like Mrs. Henderson S. Green's. It'll connect the diner even more to the community. Clara beamed, encouraged by his enthusiasm. They sketched plans on napkins, outlining ways to infuse life back into the diner. Laughter bubbled between them, as they traded silly ideas and hopeful dreams. It felt like they were building something real, tangible brick by brick. "Okay, but we need to think about the menu," Clara said, biting her lip in thought. "I can create specials with local ingredients, but we have to keep the classics too. People are sentimental about their favorites." "Right." Max leaned forward. "Like the famous blueberry pie. My grandma used to make one just like it. We could even run a pie contest." The thought of sharing their stories ignited a warmth between them, a bond deepening with every shared memory and aspiration. The diner was the heart of their town, and they both understood how important it was to preserve that community essence. But then, Clara's expression shifted. "Max, what happens if this doesn't work? What if we let everyone down?" The question hung in the air, heavy with truth. Max felt a knot tightening in his gut. "We can't think like that. We're taking a leap, and leaps are messy. But together, I think we can do this." As Clara contemplated his words, the door swung open again, this time revealing a group of 3 teens, laughter spilling in with them. They were soaked but undeterred, their spirits unbroken by the storm. The leader of the crew, a wiry boy wearing a cap, spotted Clara behind the counter. "Clara, is it true you're going to save this place?" he shouted, a hopeful grin wide on his face. The question caught Clara off guard. She shared a glance with Max, vulnerability replacing excitement. I'm trying, yes. We're brainstorming some ideas. Can we help?" another girl asked eagerly, her eyes wide with possibility. Max and Clara exchanged glances, the weight of their endeavor suddenly alive in the eyes of these young patrons. It wasn't just them anymore, this was their community, and they were a part of it. "Sure," Clara replied, the thrill of collaboration sparking once more. "What do you think we should do?" Their laughter rang through the diner, a sound that seemed to challenge the dreary weather outside. As ideas flowed from the teens, everything from karaoke nights to helping set up the market, Clara felt a lifting sensation in her heart. But as the storm raged on outside, so did the uncertainties in her mind. Were they setting themselves up for failure? Max mustered all his courage. "I believe in this place, and I believe in you, Clara. We'll make it work, one way or another." His words held a promise that felt bolstered by the energy around them. She dared to smile, imagining a thriving diner with laughter and warmth radiating from its doors. As they wrapped up, Clara's heart swelled with gratitude. Still, a small seed of doubt remained. What if their efforts weren't enough? Max pulled out his phone, scrolling through notes as he prepared for the next step. "We should set some deadlines for our ideas, make real plans." "Agreed," Clara nodded, a newfound resolve settling in. But could they truly carry their dreams into reality? Just then, the diner's bell jingled softly again. A tall figure slipped inside, silhouetted against the storm's fury outside. Clara squinted, recognizing the man from the local newspaper. He was known for thumping up on coffee shop culture and small businesses. Would he bring news of investment, or perhaps something even more unexpected? The tension rose as he approached, laying his eyes on Clara and Max. "So, I see you two are planning a bit of a revival?" He leaned casually against a booth, curiosity evident in his tone. Clara's heart raced. Was he here to help, to hinder, or to deliver the news that their plans were futile? Would there be a way forward, or had they just beckoned the storm to breach their sanctuary even more? Clara took a breath, trying to steady her racing heart. The man's presence was suddenly so imposing. She glanced at Max, who appeared equally taken aback, but determined to keep the momentum going. "Yes," Clara said, an edge of defiance in her voice. "We're working on some ideas to revitalize the diner." The man raised an eyebrow, his expression shifting from casual to interested. "I'm intrigued. I happened to read about this place in the news recently. It seems the diner holds a lot of memories for folks around here." "More than I can say," Max added, his enthusiasm bubbling over. "This diner is the town's heartbeat. We just want to help it thrive again." The man's gaze sharpened. "And how do you plan to do that?" Clara felt a shiver of uncertainty creep in, but she pushed it aside. "We're brainstorming community events, local markets, and new menu items that highlight local ingredients. We want to create a space where families want to gather again." His eyes glimmered as he listened, a spark of interest igniting within. "That sounds ambitious. But how are you going to fund it? Thoughts on partnerships?" Max opened his mouth to respond, but Clara spoke first, her voice stronger now. "This diner has already seen tough times. We're not looking for a handout. We want the community to invest in itself." The man seemed to admire her spirit, nodding thoughtfully. "All right. I'm a believer in community-driven projects. If you can generate enough interest, then maybe we can talk about a financial angle. Show me you can get some buzz going." Clara's insides twisted with excitement and dread. Could they really make it happen? "We'll do everything we can," she promised. "We'll get the word out." "Good," he said, a wry smile appearing. "I'll be following your progress closely. If you manage to create a buzz, let us talk. Just remember, actions speak louder than words." As he turned to leave, Clara felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. Was his interest genuine? Or just business as usual? The teens, who had been silently observing, erupted into chatter, their previous enthusiasm revived. "Did you see that? We need to get organizing," the girl exclaimed, while the boy with the cap leaned in closer. "Let us make flyers, set a date for the movie marathon, and reach out to local farms for the market." Clara's heart swelled again. They had a team now. This wasn't just her and Max anymore. It was a community. "Okay, let us set some tasks," Max suggested, his voice steady. "Who can handle the flyers? And we'll need a social media plan too. Everyone is online." The teens nodded eagerly, jumping into action, excitement bubbling amongst them. Clara felt the weight of the diner lightening with each idea shared, each plan set into motion. But as they gathered around a table, scribbling notes and ideas on napkins, Clara couldn't shake the fear that lingered at the back of her mind. What if it didn't go as planned? What if they laid it all out and still fell short? Max seemed to sense her hesitation. "Hey, don't worry," he said, his voice low and reassuring. "We'll take it one step at a time. Just visualizing this is already a huge leap." In that moment, she realized their shared dream had pulled together more than just her spirit. It had ignited the passion of a whole new generation. Just as they wrapped up, deep into their brainstorming, the diner door swung open once more. A gust of wind blew through, scattering napkins across their table. And in walked another stranger, this one a woman, her vibrant coat a stark contrast to the dreary outside. She looked around, and her eyes landed on Clara, as if she had been searching specifically for her. "Is this where the revival is happening?" she asked, her voice warm and inviting. Clara felt the new rush of adrenaline. Who was she? What did she want with their plans? Would she bring them a connection they hadn't even anticipated? The room fell silent, all eyes falling on the woman with the vibrant coat. Clara felt the warmth radiating from her smile, yet uncertainty mixed with curiosity in the air. "Yes, it is," Clara finally responded, trying to match the woman's enthusiasm. "We're working on reviving the diner and making it a hub for the community again." The woman stepped closer, an eager glimmer in her eyes. "I'm so glad to hear that. My name is Eliza, and I've always felt a strong connection to this diner. My grandmother used to bring me here when I was a kid. Now Clara was more intrigued. Really? What do you remember about it? Eliza's eyes sparkled with nostalgia. The smell of fresh coffee, the jukebox playing our favorite songs, and the laughter of families around tables. It was a magical place full of life. The teens were listening intently, captivated by Eliza's words. It felt as though her memories breathed life into their new vision for the diner. They began to exchange glances, ideas sparking like electricity among them. I would love to help, Eliza continued. There are so many stories tied to this diner. What if we collected those stories from the community? It could be the foundation for our events. Exactly. Max jumped in. We could organize a storytelling night, invite locals to share their memories, and connect through good food and laughter. It can be part of our marketing push. Clara was brightening. We could turn those stories into art to display here, or even cook classic recipes from them on special nights. Eliza nodded, her smile wide. I can reach out to the local newspaper. They could help us publicize it and share the stories. Clara felt the energy in the room shift, moving from anxious planning to something vibrant and hopeful. With a newfound determination, the teens gathered close, whispering their ideas about how to incorporate everyone's memories into the diner's revival. But amidst the excitement, Clara felt a nagging worry ripple through her. What if they overwhelmed Eliza with the plans? What if the ideas they were excited for faded just as quickly when the initial buzz wore off? Before we dive headfirst, are you sure you're up for this, Eliza? Clara asked, forcing herself to seek clarity. We have big plans, and they'll take some hard work. Eliza stepped back a little, her hands holding the vibrant coat close like armor. Trust me, Clara. I need this as much as you do. After my grandmother passed away, I felt lost. This diner, it's part of my roots. I want to help bring it back to life. Clara's heart fluttered. This wasn't just about reviving a building, it was about rebuilding the spirit of a community. Just then, the diner door swung open again, rattling the bell, drawing their attention. A teenage boy walked in, clutching what looked like an old photo. He hesitated, his eyes scanning the room before locking onto Clara. I found something that might mean a lot to the diner. The look on his face was a mix of awe and fear. Clara felt her curiosity turn to urgency. What could this photo reveal? And how might it connect with their plans? Come on over. Show us, she said, her mind racing with possibilities as the ticking clock echoed in her ears. As he approached, she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever he had would knit even tighter the fabric of their little community. She waited, heart pounding, to see what hidden treasure this boy held. Would it change everything? The boy stepped into the soft glow of the diner lights, the photo trembling slightly in his hands. Clara caught a glimpse of sepia tones and faded smiles, a window into the diner's past. The corners of the photo were worn, suggesting that it had been cherished for decades. What do you have there? Clara asked, her voice steady despite the fluttering uncertainty in her chest. He approached slowly, his brown eyes darting between the group and the picture. I found it in an old box at the thrift store. There's this lady at the counter who said it might belong to the diner. With a small nod, he handed the photo to Clara. She leaned in closer, taking in the image. It showed a group of people smiling and seated at a long booth. The diner was bustling, alive with energy. Beneath the neon lights, families gathered, friends laughed, and joy radiated like warmth. Clara's breath caught in her throat. Is that her voice trailed off as she recognized a familiar face in the photo. It was Eliza's grandmother, the woman who had brought her here many times. Eliza stepped forward, her face paling. That's my grandmother. You're sure? Clara asked, turning to Eliza with wide eyes. Yes. That's her. She used to talk about her friends from the diner all the time. Eliza's voice wavered, emotions clashing within her. Clara's heart swelled, realizing how this moment connected all of them, tying the past to their future plans. "What a find!" Max exclaimed, his excitement bubbling over. "Think of all the people in this picture. They have stories that could breathe life back into this place." As the group gathered around, Clara felt a swell of inspiration rising within her. This image could be a powerful tool. They could use it to ignite interest and reach out to families who used to frequent the diner. A living connection to its history, something that would draw them in. Eliza ran her fingers along the edges of the photograph. Her voice trembled with emotion. "This isn't just a picture, this is hope. It gives me a reason to fight for this diner, for her legacy." "Let us make copies of it," Clara suggested, feeling the momentum build. "We could create a wall of memories, photos, and stories that build a bridge between the past and the present." Eliza nodded enthusiastically. "And we can start with a storytelling night. We'll invite everyone to bring their old photos too. Maybe even recipes passed down through families show how we're all connected through this diner." The teens buzzed with excitement, each contributing more ideas. Clara felt a warmth spread through her. Maybe this was the sign they needed, a spark that could ignite the entire community. Suddenly, the bell over the diner's door rang again, and Clara turned to find an elderly man stepping inside, leaning heavily on his cane. His eyes widened as he spotted the group huddled around the photograph. "Is that," he started, inching closer. "Is that my wife?" Clara's heart raced. Who knew what revelations lay just beyond the diner's threshold? With curiosity enveloping her, she beckoned the man over. His presence was a reminder that every person in that room, their stories, their connections could help forge a vibrant future for the diner. "Let us hear your story," she urged gently. As he approached the photo, his eyes sparkled with tears of recognition. What legacy would unfold from this discovery? Could it be just the beginning? "Is that really her?" The man's voice trembled, an old ache surfacing as he leaned closer, squinting at the faces frozen in time. Clara noticed how the lines on his face deepened, a mixture of nostalgia and grief etched into every crevice. "That's my Harriet. I haven't seen that image in years." Eliza stepped forward, her heart racing. "You knew her?" "My grandmother loved being here." The man nodded, his gaze still locked on the photograph. "Harriet was the heart of this diner. She always said it felt like home." His voice cracked, pulling at Clara's heartstrings. "We used to come here every Friday night after church. It was our little tradition." Max chimed in. "What was she like?" The man smiled wistfully. "She had this laugh that could light up the entire room. And oh, how she loved to bake. The pie she made." He paused, lost in the memories of flour-dusted tables and warm ovens. As he spoke, Clara watched Eliza's face. A dream was igniting there, a vision of what the diner could become. Could we possibly do a night to honor her? Share her recipes? Eliza asked, her voice filled with hope. Harriet's recipes were legendary, the man replied, a flicker of excitement lighting his eyes. If you could gather enough stories and memories, maybe we could rebuild this place into something special again. The group absorbed his words, the air charged with a sense of purpose. Clara imagined it a storytelling night celebrating the diner's rich history, the flavors of love and laughter passed down through generations. It felt electrifying. "I can help," the elderly man said. "I still have her favorites written down." He beamed, his posture easing as hope took root. "I want to help you bring this place to life again." "Let us plan it," Clara declared, her heart racing with determination. "We'll call it Harriet's Night. Everyone will bring their stories, and we'll make a pie in her honor." As the group erupted in chatter, Clara noticed him relax a little more. His cane felt lighter, his heart lighter. It was as if he'd found a piece of himself that had been missing for too long, Days passed, and excitement spilled over as the community buzzed with invitations and preparations for the upcoming event. The diner soon became alive again, the clatter of pots and laughter mixing in the air. On the night of Harriet's tribute, the tables overflowed with dishes, each one telling a story. Clara could hardly contain her excitement as the place filled with familiar faces, some new, all eager to reminisce. The elderly man, now brimming with joy, stood at the center of it all. "Thank you for bringing us together again," he began, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "This diner isn't just where we eat, it's where we share our lives." As he spoke, Clara's eyes drifted around the room. Everyone was smiling, sharing their dishes, their laughter welcoming the warmth that only community could bring. Then, from across the room, a young woman approached, eyes wide with disbelief. "Is that?" she whispered, pointing to the old photograph displayed at the front. Clara turned, recognizing the woman immediately. She looked just like Harriet. "Who are you?" Clara asked, moving closer, her heart racing. What new chapter was about to unfold now? The young woman hesitated, her hand trembling as she reached out, pointing at the photograph. "I'm Lucy," she stuttered, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm Harriet's granddaughter." Clara blinked, a storm of emotion swirling inside her. Lucy's resemblance to Harriet was striking, her curly hair, bright eyes, even the way she smiled, it was all there. Clara felt a wave of connection spark between them, as if the spirit of Harriet was lingering right before them. "Your grandmother brought me so much joy when I was a kid," the elderly man said, stepping closer to Lucy. "We used to come here for those pies you've probably heard about. She was something special." Lucy's eyes shone with unshed tears. "I always heard stories about her, about how she loved this diner. My mom said it felt like home to her." Her voice broke, but a smile crept across her face. "I didn't expect to find a piece of her here tonight." Eliza joined them, wrapping her arms around Lucy in a comforting embrace. "We're honoring her memory," she said warmly. "We're calling it Harriet's Night. The diner is coming back to life again, thanks to her legacy and the stories we all share." "I can't believe this," Lucy said, her voice full of wonder. "I didn't even know this place still existed. I thought I had lost every connection to her." The elderly man gently took Lucy's hand, squeezing it softly. "You've found it, dear. We're all here, remembering Harriet's spirit together." Clara watched the group, her heart swelling with warmth. This wasn't just a night for dishes and stories, it was a reunion that stitched broken pieces together. People who had lost touch were reconnecting over shared memories, and Lucy was the thread that wove it all back together. As the festivities continued, Lucy shared her own stories about Harriet, how she baked cookies for the neighborhood kids, how her laughter filled their home, and how she always made time for anyone who needed a friend. Clara noted every word, wanting to preserve this newfound connection. Later that evening, with everyone settled around tables full of food, the elderly man stood once again. "Tonight isn't just a tribute to Harriet. It's a celebration of love, legacy, and community. We should never forget that memories have the power to heal." The crowd erupted into cheers and laughter, but Clara felt a tension beneath the joy. There was still so much left unsaid, so many questions swirling in her mind. Lucy was just beginning to discover how deep her grandmother's roots ran in this diner, but Clara wondered if there were even more layers to unfold. "Lucy," she said, hesitant but driven by curiosity, "what else do you know about Harriet? What did she leave behind?" Lucy's expression changed, a sudden cloud of uncertainty clouding her face. "I don't know everything," she admitted, eyes flicking to the ground. "But I heard she may have kept something hidden, something important." The room felt quiet, anticipation hanging in the air. Clara could sense the urgency of the moment. What had Lucy stumbled upon? What legacy was still waiting to be uncovered? As friends and neighbors leaned closer, Clara's heart raced not only for tonight's celebration, but for what this new revelation might bring. The true story of Harriet could be more profound than anyone imagined, and Clara was determined to unravel it. Lucy looked up, her eyes shining with determination. "I want to find out what it is. It's time I discovered my grandmother's hidden legacy. Will you help me?" The weight of the question filled the room, the air thick with anticipation. Clara nodded, feeling the pull of what lay ahead. They were on the brink of something greater than just memories. They were about to step into an adventure that could change everything. Clara felt a rush of excitement and fear as she met Lucy's gaze. The blend of emotions made her palms sweaty. "Of course, I'll help you," she said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. The others around the table leaned in, drawn by the promise of a mystery entwined with Harriet's spirit. Clara could feel their curiosity shifting the atmosphere, turning the diner into a lively hub of whispers and shared hopes. "What kind of hidden legacy are we talking about?" Eliza asked. "Did she leave behind anything particular? A journal? A treasure?" Lucy's brow furrowed as she pondered. "I'm not sure," she replied slowly. "My mom would tell me stories. Sometimes she'd mention things that Harriet kept close. Special items, maybe letters or something in the attic." The thought seemed to ignite a spark in her. "We need to go through her things. Mom kept everything. If there's anything left that could show who she really was, then we should go," Clara encouraged, feeling the thrill of possibility surge through her. "When can we start?" "How about tomorrow?" Lucy proposed, her eyes brightening. "I can take you to my mom's house." The room buzzed with enthusiasm, laughter intertwining with deep breaths of anticipation. The elderly man chuckled. "You're going to unearth secrets and memories that could fill this diner for years to come." As the night wore on, they shared more of Harriet's stories, something akin to folklore in their hearts. Each tale drew Lucy closer to her grandmother, as if Harriet were right there with them. Clara noticed how Lucy transformed, pulling strength from Harriet's legacy with every story told. Later, as the diner quieted, Clara took a moment to step outside. The air was crisp, filled with a sense of the night. She leaned against the outdoor railing, her thoughts swirling like autumn leaves caught in the wind. What would they find? What had Harriet kept hidden all these years? Eliza joined her, leaning on the railing beside her. "This night was perfect, huh? But I sense something is unfolding, Clara. You feel it too, don't you?" "This isn't just about remembering Harriet anymore." Clara nodded slowly, her heart thumping. "It feels like the beginning of something big, like we're all meant to uncover a truth. Something more than just stories, maybe even a part of Harriet's spirit that hasn't been set free." "Whatever it is, we're in it together," Eliza said, eyes sparkling with determination. The next day dawned bright and clear. Clara found herself pacing as Lucy arrived, full of enthusiasm. "Let us do this," Lucy exclaimed, wearing a faded smile that reminded Clara of Harriet. They piled into Lucy's car, the excitement almost electric. They drove through familiar streets, each turn humming with anticipation. Clara felt the weight of the unknown pressing at her, but also the warmth of companionship. When they reached Lucy's childhood home, a modest house with peeling paint, but a welcoming aura, Clara felt an odd mix of nostalgia and curiosity wash over her. The memories must linger here, just waiting to be rediscovered. As they stepped inside, dusty light streamed through the windows, illuminating boxes stacked high in the corners. Clara took a deep breath, ready to embark on a journey filled with possibility. She thought about the question Lucy had posed before: what lay hidden in Harriet's legacy? Could there be secrets waiting for them? The unknown loomed like an open book with faded pages, begging to be explored. "Let us start here," Lucy said, a determined look in her eyes, as she gestured toward a box that looked particularly worn at the edges. Clara nodded, her heart pounding with each step closer toward their first discovery. Was this where they would find the answers? As they opened the box, Clara felt that electric charge once more. Little did they know that what they might reveal could forever change not just Lucy's understanding of her grandmother, but also their own lives. What lay inside? Adventure awaited, full of surprises and secrets just waiting to be unveiled. As Clara and Lucy sifted through the worn box, the dust danced in the beams of sunlight pouring through the window. Each item they uncovered felt like a thread connecting them to Harriet's past. Clara's heart raced with anticipation as they pulled out brittle letters tied with frayed ribbons, old photographs capturing laughter and love, and a faded recipe book filled with handwritten notes. "Look at this," Lucy explained, turning over a photograph of Harriet standing proudly in the diner, surrounded by friends. The love radiating from it was palpable. Clara felt warmth bloom in her chest. This wasn't just a glimpse into Harriet's past, but a mirror reflecting their own journey of reconnecting with community and legacy. As they continued, Lucy's eyes glimmered with realization. These letters there from my mom. She must have saved everything. It's like a treasure hunting for stories. I never knew my grandmother had so many friends here. Clara nodded, following Lucy's enthusiasm. Each letter is a story, Lucy. A piece of history waiting to be shared. We could read them at the diner, at future events. Honor Harriet by keeping her spirit alive through these memories. I love that idea, Lucy replied eagerly. So many people have ties to her. Let us share those connections. It'll bring everyone together again. Amidst the treasures, something caught Clara's eye, a small, intricately carved wooden box tucked away in the corner. She reached for it, dusting off the surface to reveal the delicate engraving. It felt solid, substantial. What is this? Clara asked, intrigue rising. Lucy looked on, curious. I don't know. My mom never mentioned it. Gingerly, Clara opened the box to find a collection of charms, each one representing a memory, a place, or a person in Harriet's life. They were unique pieces, some engraved with initials, others adorned with symbols that spoke of love and friendship. Clara felt a rush of energy, knowing they had stumbled upon something extraordinary. We need to display these at the diner, Clara said, her voice buzzing with excitement. Imagine the stories each charm holds. We can invite patrons to choose a charm and share their memory. Lucy's eyes lit up. Yes. And then maybe we could do a charm night where people can come and recount their own tales linked to those charms. It'll be like Harriet is sitting with us, sharing the legacy she left behind. As they piled their finds together, excitement pulsated in the air. They called Eliza, who rushed over, her energy infectious. What did you find? She called, eyes sparkly with anticipation. Once inside, Clara spread everything out like a treasure map. Eliza gasped at the letters, clasping her hands. These are incredible. It's like we have the whole diner's history right here. We didn't just find Harriet's legacy. We found our path forward. Days passed, and the energy around the diner was electric. They announced Harriet's night, featuring the letters and stories, charm displays, and even a baking contest honoring her pies. The community buzzed with excitement, and soon posters filled the storefronts. Clara felt hope unfurling like petals under the warm sun, touching everyone who walked through the doors. Harriet's night arrived, and the diner overflowed with familiar faces old and new. Laughter echoed, children played, while elders shared old stories alongside Clara's treasured items from Lucy's discoveries. The energy was vibrant and alive, almost tangibly electrifying. Clara stood behind the counter, a radiant smile on her face as she watched the magic unfold. Remember the recipe for Harriet's blueberry pie? Clara called out to the crowd. It's still a favorite here. As the night unfolded, people shared memories tied to those charms scattered about the diner. Each recollection deepened the sense of community, bringing it back to life, thread by cherished thread. Clara felt empowered, witnessing the transformation. The diner was a haven again. Then came the moment of revelation. The elderly man, who had watched the festivities unfold, stood up. "I have something to say," he declared, gathering everyone's attention. Harriet was the heart of this diner. Tonight, we honor her memory, but we also create a new legacy together. Let this place live on in every smile and every shared laugh. It's a gift. As Clara watched the warmth in their faces, the realization struck her this wasn't just about saving the diner. It was about creating a tapestry of memories, honoring the past while weaving a story for the future. She glanced at Lucy, her heart swelling with gratitude. They had helped revive not only a building but the very spirit of their community. With the final slice of Harriet's pie served and satisfaction lingering in the air, Clara raised her glass. "Here's to Harriet, and to everyone who makes this diner more than just a place to eat. It's where our lives intertwine, continuing to weave stories that inspire, that connect." Every voice joined in a heartfelt cheer. In that moment, Clara felt a sense of completion. There were still challenges ahead, yet they would tackle them together, driven by the warmth of shared memories and rekindled connections. As laughter echoed in Clara's diner, she knew the legacy of Harriet would thrive, and so would the hearts that beat within its walls. And so, dear friends, remember the ties that bind us. Join the adventure and support our journey, for we have stories yet to tell and legacies to unfold. If you resonate with this transformation, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to feel the sense of hope and community. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Your feelings matter, so comment below and let us know how this story moved you. Let's keep the spirit of connection alive.